Hey, Lily with Keller Williams Realty here in Portland, Oregon. So I don't know if you saw my story earlier, but I mentioned how I wanted to do a video on what you should expect as a buyer buying a home. Why I brought this up was I've had a lot of experiences in the last few years, and especially recently, of interesting stories people have told me about their experience buying a home with a realtor, or friends' experiences that they've heard that are either, just not really meeting their expectations. The experience was frankly sketchy. They didn't feel like they really knew what was going on. Or honestly, a lot of the time conversations I've had with people, I believe their expectations were too low for what they should have gotten out of the real estate experience and how they should have been treated and taken care of by their realtor. So I thought it'd be helpful for me to go over the process, how it works when you work with me, and how I know it is for a lot of other agents in my office, and how you're treated, how you're taken care of by your realtor on the buyer side of the transaction. At some point I can do the selling side. It's very different. There's different levels of expectations that happen, so I'll cover that at some point, but let's focus on buyers today. So when it comes to the buying process, first thing I start off with is, even if you're a year or two out, I like to sit down with the person. Right now it's on Zoom, but it's about the same thing. I like to sit down with the person and do a buyer consult. Before we start the consult, I send you over a worksheet that is a detailed questionnaire that says and asks you what you would like in a home, the details that are super important to you, things that you would like to have, things that you don't really care about, things that are just important to you that I should know in buying a home. We then go over that worksheet together on Zoom right now. And then I go over with you the whole entire buying process. I like to joke that by the end of this conversation, you should feel like a realtor yourself. You should feel so educated, so empowered that you could go out there and do this whole thing yourself. But of course, I'm gonna be there the whole time as well. And yeah, we go through everything you should expect from the process of before we look at homes, the home search, the transaction, closing, everything. That way that you know what to expect and what to prepare for, which is the most important part. Once we do that, we then, go over what you want in a property, make sure we're in a really good spot and that we both know how we're gonna move forward. Then after our appointment, I send you over a list of loan officers, people that you should contact. And I always recommend the people, that are gonna be on the list that I send you are people that I've worked with before, people I know and trust, and are people that are going to, most importantly, be willing to sit down with you and go over their side of the process. So especially if you are a first-time home buyer, I think it's really important to go over with the transaction side from the loan officer as well. Just that way you know exactly what's going on. And then they also will prep you in knowing what to do with your credit, how to prepare yourself so you're in the best spot for when you go to buy. And I'll say, and I've said this before, don't worry about being the best spot possible. They can actually help you with that. So if you have some credit concerns, if you have some things you want to deal with, they're actually going to be the person you want to talk to. Don't go to Google, go to a real person. I promise they're going to help you. They're not going to judge you. It's going to be amazing. And then when it comes to next steps after that, or kind of around the same time, I will start sending you properties. Even if you're a year or two out in the process, I like to start sending you properties to show you what's available based on what you put in the worksheet and what we discussed. And then I like to ask the buyer for you to do a little homework for me, and I ask you to tell me exactly what it is that you like about the properties, what you don't like, what features are really cool to you. Give me that detailed list the best that you can of what you like in a home. That way, as we start the process, we know exactly, both of us know it is exactly what it is that you want. I think it's even helpful for the buyer. You may not even really think too much about it until you start to look at the homes, and it's really helpful for both of us to have that detailed notes and list of things that you like and dislike and want in a property. Once we've done that, once you have your loan pre-approval, once we have an idea of what you want in a home, then we start the fun part, or what most people think is the fun part, which is searching for a home. So this part is always, I think, the biggest variance you'll get in terms of experience and what you should expect. I think during the transaction is probably the most important, but this is the part that can vary. So for me, when you start working with me, I will send you properties all the time, and then you should expect that your realtor will be there to show you a property pretty quickly. Right now in our competitive market, you should expect to see the property or have the availability to see the property within 2 to 3 days, even sooner, depending on when you view the property, what have you. I heard an experience recently of a client who last time they bought a home, the realtor told them, oh yeah, we can go see that in 2 weeks. That's not possible. That the house is gonna be gone by then. So definitely expect way more than that. And yeah, so when we find a few properties you wanna see, I will make a list of the homes. I'll schedule and contact the other realtors, schedule our times out, send you a detailed list of the times we're gonna view each home, send you the MLS info and any other info that might be interesting or that we might need to know while we're viewing the properties. I'll meet you at the houses, we'll go to each one, and then the important part here too, I think a distinction is I really like to make sure that you know everything that's going on. So before we hop into the house, I work a lot of time with first-time home buyers. I'll let you know what you should be paying attention to when we show up at the house. So I'll tell you to look at the siding. If I see that something's kind of weird with the siding or the roof, I'll make sure to mention that to you so you know what to look for. And then inside the property, I will show you things of like, hey, that'd be a really cool update, or, you could do this with the home, or, oh, look at that hot water heater, or something, looks a little fishy there. Maybe we should avoid this property. Or I can let you know what would need to be done to get the property up to code, what have you. So it really should be a conversation when you're inside the house as well. If, you're working with somebody who just opens the door for you, that's not enough. You should expect way more than that. And then once you find a property that you like, then we go into the fun part of the offer writing process. So first thing I will do is if you find a house that you're really interested in, I will contact the realtor on the other side, the listing agent, and first off get an idea of where they're at on any other offers, where those offers are at, somewhat with price, and can't talk to them too much about that, but get some inclination of where we're at. I'll also then usually do a home valuation. So if, it's not very clear on where we want to be on price, I will do a valuation looking at sold properties, active listings, and pending homes in the area to give us an idea of where we should be at on price. So you're making the decision of what you want to put your offer in at that is informed, that you feel empowered, and that you feel like we're in a really good spot. Not that you're just like saying some random number to beat out everybody else. We want to make sure you're making a good investment. This ultimately is going to be one of the biggest investments you make in your life. So gotta make sure you feel good about it. If someone's not doing that for you, again, that is something you should expect. Once you have written your offer, if we do an amazing job, there's going to be some other little things I can tell you strategy-wise of what you could do for your offer. I can do a whole nother video on that. Once you get your offer accepted, ideally, then we go under transaction. So once you're in a transaction, there is a ton of stuff you should expect. I probably should do a whole nother video on that because it says I'm already around like 8 minutes on this one. Once you're under transaction, though, you should expect to hear from your realtor all the time. My idea, what I learned from a coach at my office was, I'm doing my job right if your question is answered before you ask it. So I should be constantly in contact with you, telling you, I'm in constant contact with the listing agent, the loan officer, the title office, any contractors, and I'm letting you know what those conversations are and how things are going. I am letting you know about any timelines you need to be aware of and actions you need to take. I'm sending you documents. I'm sending you things to review. I'm sending you things to sign. I'm organizing schedules with inspectors, contractors, all of that, and letting you know and keeping you in the loop on all of that. So you should expect to hear from your realtor, especially in the beginning, every few days at least. It gets, near the end, there isn't as much to do on the realtor side of things, so you may not hear from them as much, but you should definitely expect to hear from your realtor every few days, at least every week, even if it's just an update that's like, hey, nothing's changed. That's actually a good thing. We're in a good spot. You should feel like you're in constant contact and not wondering what's happening. Now, I could talk a lot more about that, but I'll keep moving forward. When it comes to closing, so this is a big part I like to talk about because when I work with people, it's to me a relationship. It's not just business. This is someone I typically get to know really well. And I like to say that at the end, we're not just, here's the keys, see you never. I like to stay in contact with you. So I think a good thing for a realtor to do is keep the conversation going. Once I get paid, that doesn't mean we're done. So I like to make sure that when you get that key, it's a celebration, it's fun. I like to give you a personalized gift and make sure that it was hard for you to buy a house. This is something that, took you a ton of work to get to this point. So that in first place should be a celebration I wanted to mention. 2, I want to always make it clear that you can come to me for anything. So if you have something come up with a home, you need a contractor recommendation, or you just have like a fun update you want to do, please contact me and let me know what you want to do, and I'll help you. I'll find the contractor for you. I'll talk to you about what that'll do to your home value. Even too, if you want to just grab a drink, I love to my favorite thing is when a past client is like, hey, let's go grab a beer. Right now with COVID, that's a little harder, but you know what I mean. Like, I love to keep that conversation going. Our relationship, if you have a good realtor, your relationship should not end the second you're handed the key. They should be there for you as somebody who can help you as a homeowner as well, and as a friend, what have you. Yeah. So basically, I think that's all of the things. I have like a million other things I could say on this, but this is definitely turning into like one of my longest videos I've ever done. So I'm gonna cut it off there. If you have any questions about the home buying process, if you're interested in buying a house and want to do that buyer consult I talked about with me, I am happy to chat with you. Feel free to send me a message. Or if, you're watching this anywhere else, you can comment below, send me a text, email, all the fun things. And I'm here to answer any questions you have or be help and a resource in any way.